Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eagle Speaks back with another video, and here I'm going to talk about Stephen A. Smith, and I wanted to talk about the ridiculous takes that he's been taking on First Take. As you know, I watch First Take here and there. I haven't been watching like the full show because it's just too bearable to watch, especially with Stephen A. Smith, Molly Quorum, and Max Kettleman. The three of them, I just can't stand like listening to for them too long. Maybe depending on the topic or what's happening in sports where I could listen to them on maybe a few minutes of their take on certain topics, but I just find myself watching Undisputed better, even though it's somewhat of a clown show too, but at least it's more entertaining and better like commentary from that show as opposed to First Take. But I digress. When I want to talk about is Stephen A. Smith and some of the dumbest takes that he's been having on First Take, and like it just puzzled my mind. Recently, I made a video talking about Stephen A. Smith made a take saying that Donovan Mitchell is the best Utah Jazz player ever of the organization, even though they had Hall of Famers that like Stockton and Karl Malone. And he's doubled down on that take, and that thing baffled me to the point where I had to laugh so hard that he even made that assertion. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, he probably is going to be a Hall of Famer and one of the best Jazz players, or possibly could be the best Jazz player ever to play for the organization. But you can't make that assertion as of yet, especially when he's in his fourth year in the league. You have to wait till he retires, and then you have to measure up his legacy towards John Stockton and Karl Malone, and then you can make that decision to say, okay, he's the best Jazz player in the organization ever. Now, his second take that was idiotic was this guy said that Devin Booker is the equivalent of Kobe Bryant on their playoff run right now. Another dumb assertion take from Stephen A. Smith. Again, RIP to Kobe, but stop comparing players to the former players of yesteryear. Let them build their own legacy. Let them be who they are. Let them be the next Devin Booker. Let them be the next Donovan Mitchell. Let them be this player. When you compare players of today to yesterday, you can't do that because the rules were different. A lot of things were different. The time was different. So for you to comparing them is just silly. And then for him to compare him to Kobe Bryant, stop. And again, no disrespect to Devin Booker, but he hasn't done nothing yet. He hasn't done shit. He literally hasn't done. This is his first year in playoffs. His first year. Now, granted, they're on a playoff run right now, but I want to talk about their playoff run right now. It's gonna sound like I'm hating on their playoff run, but they've been playing teams with a lot of major injuries, and I don't want to shade that, but that's a video for another time. But again, Devin Booker's doing great, and if he happens to win a couple of championships, win some MVPs and some other awards, then we could compare him to players like Kobe and etc. But you can't say he's the next Kobe. Not yet. It's too soon. And for Stephen A. Smith to make these dumbass takes like that, it just pisses me off to some degree. It's laughable, but it gets so ridiculous to the point what do you gain by making you work for ESPN? You work for one of the biggest sports broadcasts in the world, and for you to be making such dumb takes is ridiculous. Like, people come to you for mostly entertainment because you are a clown as regards to that. For the most part, they come to get sports analysis and opinions on what they think about what's going on in the sports world. Now, as we know, all the injuries that's been piling up on the road to the playoffs has been brutal, but it looked like whoever the healthiest team is going to win the finals. But again, when it comes to his assertion, it's just been so ridiculous, and it's just like, wow. And then the worst part about it is he doubles down on his take, even though they're ridiculous and have no merit at all. And this is one of the things that irks me about Stephen A. Smith. Even when he's wrong, he doesn't admit that he's wrong. He double downs on it, and then he starts yelling, thinking that makes him more right. It doesn't. All it does is make you look more foolish as a person, and makes you take you less seriously. So I want to get to my final Stephen A. Smith idiotic take, and the one that he made was like, wow, was he said that the Clippers should move on from Kawhi Leonard and let him walk. When I heard that, I just shook my head. Like, there's nothing else to talk about to that. Like, why would you, as a fledgling franchise that has no history, no championship rings, that's been seen in the shadows of the Lakers' allure, would let a superstar player, not a star player, not a role player, not a rookie, a superstar player, a franchise changer, you should just let him walk? For what reason? And then he went over his reason on why they should let Kawhi Leonard walk. But come on now, like, just stop it. I don't even want to hear what he has to say. He said even if they won the championship or don't win the championship, they should let Kawhi Leonard walk because Kawhi Leonard is not vocal, because Kawhi Leonard is not a leader, a quote-unquote leader, because of Kawhi Leonard's injury history. Like, all these like stupid assertions. But if Kawhi Leonard was playing for the Knicks or if Kawhi Leonard was playing for the Lakers, he would not make this take at all. That was the third dumb assertion that Stephen A. Smith had made. That was another dumb take by him. And it's like they have no merit, no base, no nothing. He's just blurting out stuff. And it's like, why are you doing this? You work for First Take. You have your own TV shows, Stephen A. Smith Show. You have your own segment on Sports Center. But you're still making these dumb takes. You work for ESPN, one of the biggest sports brand in the world. Number one. That means people come to you for knowledge as regards to what's going on in sports, particularly to basketball and football, because that's what you talk about for the most part. You sometimes talk about MMA, but your MMA takes are trash as well. Actually, they're the worst part. I've heard some of your MMA takes. They're like horrible because you have no knowledge of the sport and you do not know what you're talking about as regards to that. And Joe Rogan called you out on that, and rightfully so. I feel like when it comes to experts on the game, certain people should just stick to what they're good at. But, Stephen A. Smith is not particularly good at basketball or football either. He, gives takes with his emotions as well. And he does the same thing with boxing as well. So when it comes to that situation, Stephen A. Smith is just purely for entertainment as a clown that he is. And I get that, but once you start sensationalizing his idiotic takes and he try to be so bombastic and loud with it, it just makes him more foolish than he already looks. But again, the whole Donovan Mitchell is the best Utah Jazz player, that was a stupid take. Devin Booker being the next Kobe, second dumb, stupid take. And then the third one is the Clippers should let Kawhi Leonard go. Another dumb take. If you're the Clippers, you're trying to do everything that you can to try to keep Kawhi Leonard. The only reason they got to this position that they were in right now is because of Kawhi Leonard. Being down 2-0, Kawhi Leonard propelled them to a Game 7 series against the Dallas Mavericks to make them go to the next round. And then, same thing that happened, he helped them however he could at the time before his injury in the second round to propel them to go to the next round. I don't care that they lost and they were down 2-0. Kawhi Leonard is the reason that they got to this position. Started from the regular season up till now. Now, granted, I give them respect for what they did in the third round without him, but still, you can't just let a superstar talent, a franchise changer like Kawhi Leonard, a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, a multiple-time Finals MVP, Finals champion, just walk into free agency and go to the highest bidder. No, you can't do that. You got to do everything that you can as Jerry West to get him to re-sign and try to go at it again. Because As we know right now, they were 2 games away from making it to the NBA Finals. They have the talent, they have the roster. They were deep. If it wasn't for injuries such as Kawhi Leonard, Zubac, Serge Ibaka, I see them beating the Suns in 5 or 6 and making it to the NBA Finals and playing whoever was going to be against the Hawks or the Bucks. But for Stephen A. Smith to make an idiotic take like that and say they should let Kawhi Leonard walk, just stupid on his part. And I just had to make this video because it's just the idiotic takes that's been coming out of his mouth is just so ridiculous at this point. It's just, I don't even know what he be thinking for half the time. But those are my thoughts and opinions. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you agree with Stephen A. Smith takes? Like, I mean, as much as a lot of people crash on his takes, there are some people who do agree with him, unfortunately. But do you agree with his takes? Do you disagree with his takes? Let me know down in the comment section down below. This is Elo Speaks out.